Good evening, everybody. Joe Joseph here, along with Gwen Caldwell for the Tuesday edition of Freedom Link Radio. And, boy, there's a lot to talk about, Gwen. And you know what? I think a good place to start today. Would you fall out of your chair?
Let's just go to sleep with everyone else, Joe. Come on, here's your sense of adventure.
Oh, they want real news. Okay, well, today, Jaguars quarterback David Garrard was released unexpectedly. I don't even know how to say that news. I want to bring up Libya. I think it's a very, very important issue. And something that people have to know, this card has been played before. It was played before in Iraq. It's going to be and it's playing itself out again in Libya. And the problem is that the banking cartels do not like when a country takes themselves off the dollar standard and goes and takes it upon themselves to profit from their own natural resources. And so that's happening now in Libya. And boy, I'll tell you, I think it makes me wonder, why are they so hell-bent on killing Gaddafi? What is their motive behind it, Gwen? What do you think?
Well, I think it's the fact that he brought water to the desert. He has a debt-free country. He has a free people, even though it's a dictatorship. They have his country has no debt. His people are very well taken care of, and he doesn't dance with the big boys at the banking cartel. In fact, he told them to kiss his grits. And when they started strong-arming him, then he decided that he might want to sell Libya produces 2% of the world's oil. But he decided that 2% of oil that was going to the world should be traded in the dinar instead of in the dollar. And
which is backed by gold.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that dinar, the African dinar, is actually a gold-backed currency, so it's not fiat. Oh man, I mean, those Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all of your banking elite, boy, they don't like that at all. As a matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Gwen, but like banks in Libya work differently, where they're not allowed to charge interest.
Oh no, it's forbidden. It's absolutely forbidden for them to charge interest. And not only that, people don't have mortgage foreclosures in Libya because when they want to buy a house, the government gives them $50,000 to buy their house.
Right.
They're not taking out car loans to buy cars because whatever car, it doesn't matter if they want to drive a Volkswagen or a Jaguar or a Lamborghini, whatever car they feel like buying, the government pays half of it.
Isn't that interesting? And they got along just fine.
Yeah, and they're not troubled. They're not troubled with little minuscule things like utility bills. Electricity's free. Oh, no doctor bills. Best medical care in the world in Libya, and it's free. Yeah. Oh, and you want to farm and grow food? You want to grow food for the people? We'll give you the land, we'll give you the tractor and the seeds, and by God, we'll dig water and pipe it to the desert for you to farm. Knock yourself out, and we'll pay for it.
It's amazing. It's amazing how much money a country can actually have if they're not spending it trying to build an empire.
Right.
If they just take care of their own, if they take care of their people. You know, imagine what would happen if we took all the resources we do projecting our power overseas to force our will upon all of these sovereign nations. What would happen if we took all that money and said, you know what, we're going to focus on the people? I wonder what kind of place this would be. I really do. It makes me wonder.
Right. Well, Joe, what really stands out for me is they're not charged land taxes or anything like that either. It was my understanding. Is that what you understand as well?
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a different way of life over there. One of the problems with public perception is the mainstream media does nothing to cover the truth. So all they're going to do is promote whatever stance the government wants you to believe, and that's been the way for a long time, and it's going to be the way for a long time to come unless we do something about it, which is the beauty of alternative media. But the second thing is just take a look at the difference here. Our government, who's supposed to be promoting the American way or the democratic, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what to call it. They installed the same terrorist network that was supposedly responsible for 9/11. They're installing them in Libya. Why? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Here we have Al-Qaeda, who we're supposed to be at war with, yet we're practically, NATO is practically giving them Libya on a silver platter and allowing them to set up a Sharia-based country.
Right.
What the hell is that all about? You know, it's kind of like, that T-shirt that Ange and I talk about a lot. That it says it's the truth. Slavery gets bleep done. It sure does. It absolutely sure. I guess it does. It's pretty effective. Slavery. Slavery never went away, folks. It never went away. If anything, it's even more pervasive now in our society than it ever was.
Well, that's because there's just more of us slaving.
Absolutely.
The population of slaves is booming.
Yep.
The thing that I find very interesting about the whole Libyan thing is that after Ahmadinejad came out and said that he was thinking about using a gold-backed currency for trading oil as well and getting out from underneath the dollar.
He's being demonized too.
That's when they started going after him. Well, now he's the president of OPEC. So they go after him now, and they are going to have a problem because we're not talking about 2% of the world's oil in Africa now. We're talking about huge amounts of oil all over the globe. And so it would not behoove them, I wouldn't think, to be, supporting Israel in attacks against Ahmadinejad at this juncture.
Yeah,
my humble opinion.
They always exploit opportunities like this, and this is, of course, nothing new. But Gwen, come on, we can frack ourselves to freedom. Ooh, look at that! That's a new T-shirt. I think I just came up with a great slogan.
Frack ourselves to freedom.
Frack our way to freedom. Frack this, frack everything. Hey, how about that oil sands pipeline? Let's keep it pumping, baby. Yeah. Woo-hoo.
I don't think so.
Well,
I'll tell you what, that pipeline's there's going to be bulldozers running over me. That will not go over the Oglala Aquifer while I'm breathing air because I swear that's like the bottom line for me.
Have you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the original one, the really cheesy B-rated British flick? If you haven't, go ahead and view it. You would be like the main character in his pajamas, laying in front of the bulldozer that's trying to bulldoze a highway through his house.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there, and I think there are a whole bunch of other people there with me.
No, you're absolutely right. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation about this because there's so much to talk about. We'll also be talking a little bit about Greece, the imminent collapse of the euro, it's coming, and a little bit of Janet Napolitano. All that and more when we come back. You're listening to Freedom Link Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Stay tuned, folks. Welcome back, folks. I want to invite all you guys to Thursday's show because it's going to be a pretty heavy-hitting show. It's something that nobody in alternative media or mainstream media is covering. And it has to do with what the Indian nations of, Canada and the United States are doing to take back their sovereignty. And it's something that they're going to, that they're actively pursuing now, pretty much taking control of treaties that were signed in the past between the governments of England and the United States and basically taking their territories back. They're fed up with what's going on. They're fed up of being used and abused, and they're taking their territories back. So, Gwen, who's our guest on Thursday?
Choske Denny, and I believe Chief Swift Arrow from the Cherokee Nation is also going to join us. It's awesome, to be a foreign national in our own country and have diplomatic immunity from these criminal corporate thugs. I love it.
Yeah, well, you know something? Isn't it poetic justice? Here we go. We go and invade the land. I mean, they are the indigenous people of this country. They really are, of this land mass, whatever you want to call it. And all of their stuff was raped and pillaged and just torn from their they don't use $20 bills because of what Andrew Jackson did to them. And I understand. I absolutely understand. But isn't it poetic? Mom always said, boy, things do boomerang. When you do something bad to somebody else, it boomerangs back at you. Well, it's starting to boomerang. The powers that be are certainly feeling the boomerang effect because they're losing control.
Well, I think it's not just the Indian nations. What I think the beauty of this is that people who live in our treaty lands, they have the option of coming on board as friend and ally, which means that they would be protected under the treaties in our territory, which would mean that they are not liable for taxes and other things that you would normally be. Like here, we live in the Black Hills. It's prime real estate, and the state collects taxes, but it doesn't go to the tribes. And May through October, they collect an additional 1 cent in tourism tax. This land, it belongs to the Great Sioux Nation, to the Dakota Sioux Nation, and so they collect it, but it doesn't benefit the tribe at all. And so if you were a friend and ally, as a landowner or whatever, then you would not be required to pay that state tax on your land any longer, is my understanding.
And
so
it almost be like an allodial title.
Right, and it's less. There's some real benefits for people who are not tribal members or who aren't qualified as an indigenous member or whatever. So that's the beauty of it. And also with Russell Gould's work in identifying the fact that The Hague is not a legitimate, it's a fiction court. It's so all of these places that we've always thought that we had to go for remedy, we find out it's not so.
No, you know what? And when one of the things that I when I was going for my degree in business administration, one of the things that you learn is that the international court has absolutely no teeth. It is a arbitrary court is basically what it is, where two countries go ahead and they mediate a dispute. That's basically all they do, but it's not binding because it has no teeth. The only way it could do that is if they refer it to the Security Council, and then if for some reason, a country goes against the grain, well, then it's up to the Security Council to go ahead and pursue sanctions or whatever the hell it is that the UN does. I can't stand the UN, and I think it's one of the worst ideas ever created. Talk about ceding sovereignty. Here's an interesting fact, how much do you think Libya pays the UN towards their operating costs? Probably nothing, right?
They don't have to.
Exactly. But you know how much we pay?